Hi, my name's Becky, and today I wanted to show you, do a little flip series of how to set up a bullet journal. So I've been bullet journaling now for about 5 years. When I first started bullet journaling, there just really wasn't a ton of options out there. And now you can find so many different kinds of bullet journals. It's so exciting, it's so much fun. And I just found this one. This is my new favorite. It has actual watercolor paper, which I've been wanting to kind of incorporate some more watercolor into my bullet journals for a while. And when I found this, I was super excited because all of the other watercolor ones I was finding had like spiral bound binding, and this one had an actual book binding. And the reason I like that is because it looks more like a flat page, and if you have the spiral bound, then it looks like two different pages. I will link this book in the description below, and I'll also link other books that I really like too. Watercolor paper is not really your thing. This was exciting though because, as I mentioned, I've been kind of looking for something like this for a while, and I finally found it. So I just started a new book, and I thought I would kind of show you some of the basic things to include in a bullet journal if you would like to start one. So let's start with the first page. All right, so I just bought this box of 60 different watercolor pens, markers, and I made a little swatch of each color and the numbers. Like, they're all numbered for some reason, but it just made it easier if I made a little swatch. I can see what it actually looks like. That might be something you would want to include as well, but not really that important. But next, you would definitely want to include your index page. And so the index is basically a numbered view of your book. So my opening page is on page 1, and then I've got my what does that say, personal development page, page 3. So it's just kind of listing the items that you can quickly reference in your book, and we'll go through each of those. I like to leave 2 pages for my index page. And then this page, I like to include this at the very beginning, if you think of it, because it helps reference all of your spreads. And so what I do is I write how many squares are across, how many squares are down, and then I write down at the 13th dot and the 14th dot, between those two is the halfway. And then down here I have between the third, if I want to split it into thirds, I have where the 9th dot is and then the 18th dot is. And then for fourths, I know that fourths is 6 squares, and then it shows where each of those are. So that way you don't have to always count the dots and do the math over and over again. It's kind of just like a quick reference of the math. And then I also do the same down. So I know where the halfway point is, where the third is, and then where the fourth is. And you can make this as detailed with as many different varieties. This amount seems to work really well for me. Okay, the next is I like to do a little cover page. I decided to start this book in spring because spring I feel like is a good time of the year to start things, and it actually feels more like the beginning of the year. Before the Romans just decided one day that the beginning of the year was going to be January, it was typically on the spring equinox, which makes sense because it's kind of like the beginning of a next cycle. And so I don't know, that's just what felt more comfortable for me, to start in spring and just get my ideas going from that. My next page is my personal development page. I really like this. If you look on Pinterest, a lot of times this will be called level 10 life. I think that sounds stupid. So I just do personal development, but it's 10 different areas of your life, and then you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And so if you write it out like this, it can be kind of like a graph of areas that you need to work on and areas that you feel like you're doing pretty good in. And then in each area, I write down a few goals and things that I'm working on. So the areas are family, career, development, spirituality, creativity, finance, health, relationships, fun, and giving. And on some of these pages, I'm just kind of giving you a quick overview, but I will go back and make a separate video going into more detail about these. So if this is too fast, see in the link below for the personal pages that'll be more detailed. Okay. The next thing I really like to include is an ultimate to-do list. And so I like to bring these from journal to journal. And so if you have your ultimate to-do list, when you go and make a new journal, you can go back to your old list and write down anything that you hadn't crossed off yet and put it into this list. And I was really happy because I went from my last bullet journal and pulled everything from the ultimate to-do list, and there was only about 5 things. So I was like, okay, I did pretty good. It's an accomplishment. And so then I start another list. Things that are on this list: clean out the window wells, build raised garden beds, paint the kitchen cupboards. So you can see that it's just kind of project goal ideas that you might have, or just things that you don't need to get done and you want a place to store those things. And then this right here is what is called a mood tracker. I really like this. I haven't always been so successful as being able to sit down and fill it out on a daily basis, but it is very informative if you do take the time. You can do this as a monthly spread, but I like the yearly spread concept the best. And again, this is something I would do in another more detailed page. But what I do like about it is, for me right now, I've been working on my anxiety and just trying to kind of bring my anxiety down. And this is a really good way for me to track like how many days I was anxious. If I'm anxious at all, even if I felt like it was a good day, I let the anxiety be the most important thing that I know down. So that's just how I do it, but it's a way to kind of to regulate some of the things that we might be trying to work on or understand better. I've noticed that I have more anxiety in January and February than the rest of the year. So it just kind of can help you really understand areas of your life better, or times of the year better, and just how to maybe manage your moods better. Another page to include that's great is a birthdays page. If you go onto Pinterest, you can find a million examples and ideas of like how to make a birthday spread. This can be super simple too. It could just be 12 squares with 12 different months on it. And, it could be even just probably all kept on like a small page if you wanted to. Okay, and then this is the part of my bullet journal that I love so much. I don't know if a lot of people are including this in their bullet journals. I personally think it's the most important part, and it's my favorite thing about the bullet journal. When I was a kid, I used to love to buy those books where you would just like answer questions about yourself. I also liked kind of writing out questionnaires on paper and handing them out to people and having them answer it. It's just kind of always been something that's interesting to me. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this sort of thing. But I also really find it helpful in understanding myself. So what this is the first part is I like to do a reflection of the last year and for the year ahead. So it's kind of like a yearly reflection. And so right here I write what went well last year. What are the best memories? What made you feel alive? What didn't go well? How did you overcome it? And then just a few more questions here. I write down things I'm saying yes to, things I'm saying no to, project goals, habit goals. And this is for the whole year. And this is just things I'm thinking about for the year. And then what I like to do is make a seasonal check-in. So I wrote down my spring check-in. Again, this is something I'll make a much bigger video on, so you can hear all the questions and kind of set it up yourself. But so I'm just kind of skimming over this, but some of the questions I would say is, how are you doing? What are your family's needs? What are your priorities? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? What's your project goal? What's a habit goal? Now you can do the project goal and habit goal one of two ways. You could have your one goal for each, or you could have 3 goals for each. And then each goal you would do 1 goal a month, because there's 3 months in the season, or You could do it however you want though. Okay. The next thing I have listed, for me, I've really been getting into Ayurveda. And so I have since it's the kapha time of the year in the spring, I have listed all of the kapha food, the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the nuts, meat, oils, herbs, and spices that are best to use during the kapha time of the year. And so this can just be a quick reference for me when I'm trying to meal plan or think about what I want to buy at the grocery store, just in general thinking about what foods you want to eat during this time. And then I go into my March check-ins. This is the monthly check-in. So I like to do a seasonal check-in, or a yearly check-in, a seasonal check-in, and then a monthly check-in. And so here is the monthly check-in. I write down my project goal, my habit goal, what I'm saying yes to, what I'm saying no to. And then right here I have the project goal action steps, and I have week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. And so that way I have one action step towards my goal that I do a week. For me, that's all I can handle. For some people, you might want to do a goal a day or 4 action steps for each week. I don't know. For me, I get overwhelmed easily and I like to simplify, and I just feel like baby steps are the best way. That's me. And then I have a monthly to-do list, just things that I am kind of planning for. And, if it's March, there's a good chance I'm going to probably try to get those window wells cleaned. So I would write that here as something I'm trying to do. Can't wait to get on that, but let's see. The next thing I'd write down is my meal plans. So I just write down different meal ideas for March. Again, if you're going to look at the kapha list, you could see what foods are really good this time of year and kind of think about like, oh, I want to eat lighter, I want to eat more salads, I want to eat more beans, I want to eat less meat and dairy. And then you can put down some recipe ideas. And then there's always the classics that you're going to eat all year long because you love them, and those are great too. So it's just a good way to kind of have a reference, and I'll show you why this is so awesome when we get to the meal plan section. So then I like to do a March cover page. Totally not necessary. It's just all for fun and can make it more journal or more artsy. As you can see, I'm really not the greatest artist anyway, but if you are really artsy, you can make, this awesome page. If you're not that artsy, so it's not necessary. It's whatever. I've seen a ton of what you kind of call minimalist bullet journals, and they're all just done in black and white, and they are beautiful. So don't let I'm not artistic or I'm not creative or whatever nonsense you tell yourself be an excuse for not engaging in these wonderful bullet journals. And I am also a great example of how you really don't need to be the most amazing artist. All you got to do is just be able to have fun with it and just learn and grow. And if you do stuff like this, and I can tell you as I've played around more with watercolors and I've played around more with the bullet journaling, I'm actually getting more artistic and getting more creative. And I try not to be afraid to just make a page ugly. If you go back to my old journals, they're ugly. They're awful. They're getting prettier and prettier. And that's a good thing. It's kind of helping me also grow my creativity in a fun way, in a productive way. So some people think, oh, I can't do art because I'm not getting anything done if I'm doing art. And this is the way you can do art and be productive if you're type A like me. Okay. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you're type A. So this is my March spread. This is just one example. I've got a big calendar, and then right here I've got my habit goals. So I mentioned that I only like to list one habit goal for a 3-month period, but I still have other goals that I am working on. So when I write a habit goal out, that's my priority, but that doesn't mean that I'm not working on other things at the same time. So in my habit goals, I've got my morning pages, my meditation, my workout, yoga, walk the dogs, 80 ounces of water, golden milk, trifla, and no food after 6 p.m. And so this is a great way to see what habits, if you do it as a month, so sometimes people will do them in their weekly spreads, but I find that if you do it in the whole month, then you have like kind of a better idea of what you actually, what goals are actually working and what maybe things that you need to work on. And so as you can see, the dogs really need to be walked. If you can see close enough, you probably can't. But it's like I'm doing pretty good on the morning pages. I'm doing pretty good on meditation. So I just think it's a really great way to kind of keep track of things that you're doing and just know where you're at. So you have a realistic view of like what is working and what you need to work on. Okay, then this is the last part of it, is your weekly spread. So once you get to here, it's basically do a weekly spread. When you get to a new month, do a monthly check-in and then a month spread, and then go back to your weekly spreads. And then when you get to the next season, like summer, you would do a summer check-in. So that would happen for me in June. Then I would also do a June check-in separately. But I would reference, and I will do a much bigger video on this, but I would reference a lot of my June check-in from, I'll go back to my yearly check-in and then the seasonal check-in. So it's just a really good way to kind of keep track of where you're at. Okay, so now for my weekly check-in, I like to do, or my weekly spread, I like to do my goal. This is the goal, and I had the 4 weeks written down, like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So this would be my week 1 goal. And then the habit that I'm working on, a little to-do list, some notes down here. And then for each day, I personally, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I make them short and small. I don't like to overplan my weekends. But from Monday through Friday, I like to list out from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I kind of have a really good idea of how my day's gonna go. And then I like to leave at the bottom 4 things that I need to get done the day, or the 4 most important things that need to happen on this day. And then again, don't overplan the weekends. And then I get to the meal plan. So for my meal plan, I like to first write down my pantry items. So from here down, I will go into my cupboard and my fridge and I'll figure out what I have and I'll write that down. And then the next phase, I'll go into recipes. So from here down, I write down different recipes where I can incorporate some of the things from my pantry and hopefully think about the things that are gonna go bad and make meals around that. Then I'll write down my weekly meal plan. So I'm talking too much. So Monday, mac and cheese, Tuesday's free, Wednesday, taco salad, etc. I like to leave at least 2 days free a week, because what I find is you need a day for leftovers and you need a day of like eating out or just like making a quick meal, just quick options. You don't need to overplan. So I like to plan 5 recipes a week, and then I'll think of lunch ideas and breakfast ideas and then put that into all of these considerations into my grocery list. Then I make my grocery list. I take this whole thing to the grocery store, or if you don't like taking a big book to the grocery store, you can make a separate grocery list. But you could keep the meal plan, the recipes, and the weekly plan. So that is basically a quick rundown of how to kind of start a bullet journal and what you would need to include. The beauty about a bullet journal is that you can customize these to your exact needs, which is what I love so much about the bullet journal. I felt like there wasn't any other planners out there that really fit exactly what I wanted and what I was looking for. And once I started bullet journaling, I was able to keep track of so much more stuff. And the really cool thing is, for example, I can go back and see what I got all the kids last year for Christmas. I have a Christmas plan spread that I'll make. You can make different spreads throughout the year. You could make a spread for your gardening, like what your garden plan is gonna be. And the options are unlimited. I've done moon spreads, like the phases of the moon, and so I'll know where the full moon is every month and when it's waning and waxing and new. That's super fun to do. There's just so many options. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little intro into the book that I just started, and I hope you enjoyed it.